it's Andrea, a South African girl living in Canada. It is so good to be back interviewing Vincent Heys again today. Vincent, welcome to my channel. It's so good to see you.
Thanks, Andrea. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. So today, we're going to be talking about what are the things and items that you need 6 to 12 months before landing in Canada. So if you're immigrating, you're probably freaking out, scouring different information, trying to find out what you need to come over. And I thought Vincent would be the perfect person to speak to, not only because he's a very successful business owner in Canada, he's in the financial world. So if you're stressed and worried about these things, I know that Vincent and we've both been through this, but he's the expert. I would trust his judgment, and I think you should too. So let's have a chat about this. Vincent, tell us about your kind of 1 to 2 years or whatever before coming to Canada.
So my story was a long story, so I'm going to go a little bit back, if you don't mind.
Yes.
It took me 10 years to get here. 2007 applied for it, and then eventually, paperwork came through, and so eventually we decided to move here in 2017. But the year or two before that, it was stressful. Kind of deciding, I've got the PR now. Are we really going to take the move and move to Canada? Luckily, my brother was, in Canada and still here, and so we came over a few times to visit them, as well as business kind of trips to see if we can start businesses over here and so on. And just talking to my brother and taking me to grocery stores and appliance shops and all the stuff that you do with your listeners now. So it's just so beneficial just to know a little bit more what the land is like, and obviously it's a lot better, to come and visit the place before you land here. And I remember sitting in the departure lounge, just thinking, what's going to happen with my tax residency? Will I become tax resident in Canada automatically if I've got PR? And so I'm in financial services, but just, man, I should have done this. I should have looked into this kind of thing.
Oh boy.
And I remember I was just, on the Wi-Fi, just reading quickly what's going to happen. And luckily, none of that is true. But everyone goes through, through moments that you think, man, this is, I should have been better prepared. So it's just good that everyone, does the research and read as much as possible.
Fantastic. So from a panic situation, let's chat a little bit more about the details of getting the stuff together. So Vincent, what kind of documentation would you say you need to get together as of first importance if you're planning to come over?
Andrea, I think it's very different compared to people that moved 20 years ago to Canada, just because the internet is there and cloud services and all these kind of things. So I would suggest having one file, physical file, with, you're obviously going to have your passports in that file if you get on the plane, your passports, your PR cards. There are some other requirements that they do ask you to carry with you, on the plane itself. But most of the things, I would put the will and power of attorneys into that file as well. Some of your main documents. But I would just file all the other things in Google Drive or Dropbox, wherever, that you can just get access to that. Doesn't matter where you are. There's actually not that much that you need to bring with you from a financial service perspective. I think just one thing is maybe just on the driver's license, just that proves that you had so many years of claim-free years in South Africa. But really, from a financial service perspective, because everything is in the cloud, one can access it. I think the main thing is not to cancel, investment contracts and policies, insurance policies on life and disability and critical illness before we do a proper assessment, and that only can really happen when you arrive in Canada.
Okay.
So most of the financial services kind of things, you don't have to carry with you physically.
Okay, great. So the idea is to kind of have it in the cloud, it's safe there, and then just bring whatever's completely necessary, passports.
Just one other thing is on the credit card, just to phone your credit card company, FNB or Investec or RMB, and just obviously let them know that you will travel abroad, because they will put certain robots in place to make sure that there's no fraud.
Yes.
So you want to make sure that there's just cash available in a credit card. So I remember 20 years ago when I flew overseas, you had these, what do they call them again? These checks that you had to carry with you.
Yes, that's right. That you could bank and then use them in the other country.
So just make sure you've got your credit card with you. That's basically it.
Okay, perfect. People ask me often about what do I need to do about my insurance as a whole, medical, life, all of that stuff. So you've come over, you're not really cancelling anything, or should you cancel stuff in South Africa? What are your suggestions there?
So obviously the easy ones are your home insurance and car insurance, which you just kind of let go when you sell those assets. Um, Life and disability and critical illness, my suggestion normally is just keep the stuff, keep those policies in place. Obviously, if you work for a company and those came through a group plan, maybe to see if you can extend that group plan into your personal name as well. Okay, so
Good idea.
So even make sure that you have some sort of insurance cover in place when you leave, or just keep it in with whatever you have.
Okay.
So you definitely don't want to cancel it. So some of those benefits, obviously life will pay out quickly, lump sum disability will pay out quickly, critical illness pay out quickly, depending on just giving proof back to South African insurance company that that you had the illness. Disability insurance, where they cover you on a monthly basis, that's a little bit tricky. They normally cover you pretty well for the first year, but then the second year you need to be in South Africa anyway. So what we just say is keep what you have in place. Don't cancel the things. The insurance are most likely not going to be enough or sufficient on this site here. So what we normally do for clients is keep it there, and once they arrive here, we then flip it over and making sure that they're covered from a Canadian perspective. And what is great, Andrea, from insurance level is that all the premiums, and many South Africans don't know this, all the premiums in Canada is all level cost. So if you buy insurance, let's say for $100 premium per month, that $100 is going to stay $100 for the duration of the contract. So in 20 years' time, you're still going to pay only $100 for that policy. So it's just a lot better from a budgeting perspective. We're kind of used to this thing where the premiums increase.
Exactly. Yeah. What are your thoughts on a credit score in Canada? People ask me that as well, a lot. What are your tips? What's your advice on that?
So I never really worried about a credit score in South Africa. It was
same.
You go to the bank and get a mortgage kind of thing. So here, because it's very transactional, credit score is really important. So when you apply for a mortgage, for example, or loan for a car. So it took me a long time to figure this thing out. But basically, you need to have a credit to be able to build up a credit score. Okay, so in South Africa, you don't want to have credit.
No.
Because the interest rates are high. We never wanted to have credit. Here, you need to have credit to be able to build a credit score. So the best way that we found out is having one credit card as opposed to too many multiple kind of things. Having one credit card, take the biggest facility that they offer you. Okay, so in the beginning, they will offer you, I think, $2,000. And as you in Canada a bit longer, they increase it gradually. So let's say your credit limit is up to $10,000. The best thing is to always borrow between 20 and 30% on that limit. So you want to spend between $2,000 and $3,000, 20 to 30% on that credit card every month, and then you want to pay it back. You don't want to spend like $8,000 on it and pay it back, and you don't want to spend $2,000 and don't pay it back. You pick it up when you use that 20 to 30% on that credit card and then pay it back within the term. If you don't pay it back within that 30 days, then they slam you with a 19% interest rate. That's the ideal. You can go to a company called Borrow Well that I use. Really good on a weekly basis, a monthly basis. They compare your score against your peers, and you can see how your credit score increases. So I think you want to get to 750 or 760 points. I think that's about the space.
Okay, great. So look in the description of this YouTube video and you'll be able to see Borrow Well in there. I'll put all the details in there for you and you can check that out. I'm sure you want to know whether you can open a bank account in Canada if you're still in South Africa. Vincent, what are your thoughts?
So we have to thank COVID-19 for this one.
True.
So before COVID, we all had to go to the bank to do any transaction. Luckily now you can just schedule an appointment on Zoom with any banker, and they can help you. We can open bank accounts for people remotely, all the way from South Africa, as long as obviously a passport facility, passport, as well as a PR card once you have those kind of things in place, download the app and we can link you with the right people at RBC to open that bank account for you. So it's possible. So once you have the bank account available, we can then facilitate the transfer of cash from rands to Canadian dollars before you arrive here. So
Amazing.
That's great, you know.
Yes.
So you can actually have the bank account open. You can have the money transferred over to your bank account in Canada, that when you arrive here, your cash is already in Canadian dollars before you set foot in this country.
A lot less dollars than you think. Sorry about that.
Yes, a lot less.
So let's talk about next steps. What is your advice on next steps? You're a couple of months out of coming into Canada.
Well, my suggestion will be that once the family have their PR in place,
Okay.
or their work permit, so they're clear in terms of, you know, buying plane tickets and organize the balance, is to schedule time with us. Let's say, you know, 3 or 6 months before coming over, or even, you know, I had clients that did that like 2 weeks before flying out.
Sure.
What we then do is we create a financial planning dashboard for the family, kind of articulating exactly what the goals are or should be in Canada. And then we populate that with products that they have in Canada and in South Africa. And the reason I'm just saying that is that some of those decisions you have to make when you're in South Africa, from a tax perspective, because of the tax, not a tax agreements, but being a non-tax resident in Canada while you're a tax resident in South Africa. So there are definitely 1 or 2 things that you need to do before, which you can do it when you're here, but it's going to be too late from a tax perspective.
Got it.
So that will be the next step, and then obviously you build on that plan when you're in Canada, and then start actioning more of those plans for your family in Canada.
Awesome. That is so great. I hope that was helpful for you. I look forward to many more chats about all of these things, so stay tuned. If you really like what you saw today, give me a thumbs up for my YouTube channel. Please click the notification bell so that you get updates on all of these videos. We're going to be doing a lot more of these chats. So thanks so much for your time, Vincent.
Thanks,
I really
Andrea.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much.